onto the show. Let's bring that officially on screen as I find the agenda for today. Welcome to the replay as well. This is I Live Here, and it's I Live Here with Steven. Fonz is out and about today in Cambridge, but not with his mobile phone. So I'm holding the fort, and today I'm going to give you a guided tour, the second guided tour of Devizes. I was out and about this morning and I broadcast live to Twitch. So I'm going to be in the studio as I replay the show. Now, we're going to be visiting Devizes in Wiltshire, which is where I live with Angelica of Angelica's German tuition and translation. And I was out and about in Devizes, walking around from the town centre up to a local park. We're going to have a guided tour of the park. I'm just going to make sure that I'm actually live on Facebook, and it says yes, I'm live on Facebook, and all is good. So without further ado then, I'm just going to wait for a minute for Facebook to catch up, because Facebook is posting everywhere. I haven't posted in the group. Say hello to Cheryl, and it's nice to see you. And I can tell that we are ready to go. So without further ado, you can see that I'm here. You can see that the video is here, and I'm going to start the video. And then if you've got any comments, please make them as we go on a guided tour, hopefully, fingers crossed, of Devizes in Wiltshire. So without further ado, hello to everybody, and here we go. So I'm going over to Chrome, pressing play.
And I'm just going to take you on a short walk through part of Devizes. We're picking up where I left off. I told you last time that there used to be a railway line which ran through Devizes. It actually went underneath the castle, and you can see the entrance to the tunnel there, and then the castle itself is today privately owned, but for £2.5 million you can actually have part of the castle to yourself. The railway bridge that I'm stood on went over the tracks and out through Devizes, and as you can see in the background, it's actually been built on, so there is no way the railway will come back to this part of Devizes, although there is going to be a station just outside Devizes, and planning is going on at the moment. Now, I'm going to try now to actually walk carefully down some steps whilst keeping the camera focused, so bear with me a moment as I descend a flight of steps. I'm going down slowly to make sure that I end up at the bottom in one piece. You can see more of the castle grounds as I'm walking around, and I know I'm being watched by bots. So here we are, I'm going down the steps, and I'll stop in a moment so that we can both take in the scenery around the castle itself and a different view of the castle. So this, by the way, is my last shaky video because I have waiting back at base a gimbal, but it's in its Christmas wrapping, and so there we have it. So this is the castle grounds. It is private property. At one point the Queen of England was here in the castle, and battles took place in the fields around, and I'm just going to walk up this path, and as you can see on the right hand side it's totally natural. On the left hand side we have housing which has been built in the last 20 years as I go up this path. Now, you may want to know where we're headed. Hopefully, we're headed to what can best be described as an oasis in the middle of Devizes. But for the moment, I've got to walk up this path. And this is part of my, hopefully, 5 miles a day. As well, I don't do 5 miles every day. Some days it's around about 3.5. But walking is quite possibly the best exercise you can have. And going past somebody's garden at the moment, and the railings, as you can see, we are climbing. In a moment I'll show you how far we've come, but on the right hand side is totally private, on the left is housing. So I'll just continue up this path a little while, and this is one of the great things about Devizes. You can always find somewhere you can walk for 30 minutes or so. I am literally just outside the town centre. Now, one of the joys of this is that I can broadcast live to Twitch, and then this afternoon this will be rebroadcast on I Live Here. So thank you to everybody who's been watching I Live Here. As I turn around, you can see some of the hill that I just climbed. Okay, let's keep going, and path continues. I can turn left or right. Now, in future videos I'll ask you to choose, but for the moment I'm going to go straight on. And I'm going to try and get a view of looking over to the castle, but I am conscious of the fact there are some trees in the way, but perhaps that will give you a glimpse of the castle. I don't have too far to walk on here, but you can see that all around the castle grounds is barbed wire to keep people out and to keep it private, but the still very green, and birds flying past. And just to think we're on the outskirts of Devizes, and as you can see, lamppost. This path is lit at night. It's one of the main ways out of Devizes on foot in the evening, and I can see and hear birds all around. And we're coming out of this walk. Now, Devizes is full of walkways. You can walk all around Devizes on footpaths away from the traffic, and just so relaxing. Let's climb up here for a moment, and you can see castle grounds are strictly private. And I'm going to walk around there and see if we can see a bit more from this side. And say hello. And Cheryl, if you're watching, this is not a speed tour. I'm taking my time today. But as you can see, I cannot get into the castle grounds. I can only get in if I'm allowed, if I've got a key. But you can see the castle from the other side as I actually go through the barbed wire. And it's strictly private, it's private property, and there's the castle. Okay, now I'm going to continue, and hopefully you can see the local bus just pulled up at the bus stop. Devizes' main mode of transport, as I said on the last program I did, is by bus, and we're walking along the street here. WR lines means that there is no parking, which means that all the cars have got to park on the side opposite, which means that if you live in one of these houses, you cannot park outside your house. And the fines for parking on double line, well, you don't want to pay them. I'm just checking to see if I've actually been joined by somebody, and I'm going to take a look around and cross the road. Right, so safely across, and going past the houses. And in a moment I'm going to turn right, and this is something you wouldn't, well, I'll leave it until I've actually got round the corner so you can decide what to make of it. Okay, so I'm going to turn now through the gateway, or what once was a gateway, and we are now in Hillworth Park. Okay, first reference to the house is 1737, and the house itself has actually been long since demolished, but here we have the Guardian Pavilion, Quaker Burial Ground, and which I'll show you in a moment. And you can see the map, and we are at the top, and we're going to walk our way through. Okay, now I'm walking directly into the sun, so I'm not sure how this is going to turn out, but we can but try. Straight ahead of us is the and as you can see, it's a ditch with a bank supported on one side, and then a natural layer on the right hand side, and that runs through the park, and that feature has been there since the park was built. And if I go down here and turn around, we can see what happens is that they basically put placards around and saying in 1737 King George II was king, Prime Minister was Robert Walpole, and the very first Hillworth House was built in 1737-38, 100 yards east of the current house, and the current house you can see is there. So back up and round. Now the beautiful thing about this is normally at weekends this park would be absolutely heaving with families, but because I'm out and about in school time, I have the park to myself. So let's take a look round. This is maintained by the Devizes Parks Department, and we'll go past where they live shortly, but you can see basketball on our left hand side, or football, or any game the children want to play. And then swing on this side. I'm not going to have a go today. Angelica has said that I should, but I'm not going to. The whole theme of the park is to be family orientated, and for families to just come out here. And during the summer, a local radio station holds concerts with live music from Devizes Town Band and from local artists. And it's just a very peaceful place to come. You can actually just walk around and take in the scenery. We're surrounded on all sides by housing, but this is truly an oasis, and you can come here and walk, and if you're small enough you can climb, and you can exercise. I'm just going to walk around the edge. And it's just, this park has been, well, it was left and abandoned, but it has been brought back to life over recent years. And Angelica and I come here for walks, and we come here to attend the concerts with family, probably once or twice a year. And you can see I've been joined by a pigeon, so they're not actually used to people walking around this time of day. And I'm going to head down. I'm going to keep to the footpath. There's no problem with walking on the grass, any of the grass. In fact, it's encouraged. That's where the concerts take place, to the left of that big tree. But on our right hand side, as you'll see in a moment, are tennis courts. Now, of course, they're still set up for use, and you can hire them, and I dare say you can hire rackets and tennis balls too. And again, during the summer, it's quite a busy place. One of the things that Devizes is good about, in every park you'll find an area set aside for families, and that's good. Right, okay, up ahead is the Park Cafe. This is Hillworth Park in Devizes in Wiltshire, and the cafe is shut, otherwise I would take you in for a coffee. Perhaps during the summer next year I will do that, and we shall see. Okay, so turning left. A couple of things, three things I want to show you over here as we walk back towards the house. The house is occupied, it is a residential home, but I want to go up here, and as you can see, it's autumn, all the leaves are falling, and it's just so green. I mean, earlier this summer we had a real summer, and the grass just died, and the whole area was all shades of brown, but now it's back to its former glory. And I just think it's a great view out over the park and the house. It's a very secluded spot, but yet accessible to everyone, and I mean everyone. We think of everything in Devizes, and just over here on my left hand side is the Hillworth Park Wildlife Pond and Stumpery. Now, it's an area set aside purely for wildlife. There is a gate to go in, but it's locked at the moment, and we could see hedgehogs and wood mice and grey squirrels, red admirals, elephant hawk moths, peacocks, blackbirds, robins, and I know it looks nothing, but if you stand here for long enough you can actually see things moving. It is inhabited. Welcome to my viewers. We are in Devizes in Wiltshire, and you can see that this has been set aside for local wildlife and insects. Right, now this building here, if you can see it, I'll just walk up and take a look through the door. Okay, this is where one would have taken afternoon tea, and basically it follows the seasons of the years now, and there's always an installation in there or something in there to attract your attention, and you could have sat in here and looked out over the gardens and back at the house. Right, okay, and the third thing is over here. I'm just going down again. Right, we've got to the bottom. All is good, all is safe. And I'm just going to walk into here. And this is the Friends burial ground. And this is situated on the edge of the park. As I open the gate. And again, this is an area for quiet contemplation. And you can actually just walk around the hedges and it's a space for reflection and also sacred ground. Okay, and just walk over slowly, and I'm not sure whether the gravestone's actually lost its markings, but we should leave this area and walk out and through another gate. Excuse me a moment. And close the gate behind you out of respect. On our left is the Devizes gardening department, and all the horticulture in the town is looked after by the people who work here. I will leave them in peace, but they do a fantastic job. One of my favourite travellers was a gentleman called Wicker, and he used to let the picture tell the story. This is the reflection pool, and it's winter, and it's in need of cleaning. I'll bring you back in the spring or summer, and you can then see it in all its glory. But again, people can just sit down and relax, and there are people in the cafe, but we'll bypass that today as we carry on our journey in Hillworth Park in Devizes. So, as I said, this is a place people can come after school and at the weekend, and just on the edge of the park. Now, I've got to say at the outset of this, I am not a twitcher. So if you can recognise the birds in this aviary, then let me know in the chat as we come up past the litter bin to the aviary itself, which has two keepers, and they're in charge of the welfare of the birds, and they're part of the parks department. But in the aviary we have sparrows, cockatiels, Andalusian chickens, kakariki, silky chickens, Chinese painted quail, zebra finch, lovebirds, and a budgerigars. And there you have. We're disturbing. I wonder if anyone will pose for us. And in fact, there are two cages. That was the first one, and then we have the second one here, and you can see everybody in the nest boxes and flying around. Okay, so let's continue our journey. I'm just going to go down a walk down the road and see what else we can find. Okay, so I'm walking back down to the main road. You can see the houses around, and I'm going to cross over and go down to the main road. And hopefully I shall be able to go across the road. This is a main road, and as such it's very busy, but I'll show you the signpost in a second, and you can see from that whereabouts we are and what people see on their way into Devizes. And people are being advised that whatever they're trying to do, they should go right for all routes. Okay, so let's walk up here, back across the road. I did plan this route out beforehand, so I know roughly where I want to go, and hopefully you'll stay with me. There is a World War I exhibition at the Wiltshire Museum. Of course, and we've now got the traffic, so apologies to Alfredo, because he did say that the traffic will cause sound problems. Okay, this building, which is, well, it stands out, is one of the many public houses in Devizes. This is, when we get closer, I can confirm where it is. This is the South Gate, and it has music every Saturday night and beer straight from the castle. Now, we can't see in, and I'm not going in. But as you can see, it's opening hours. It's got a skittle alley. Skittle is very popular in Wiltshire, and we play skittles once a year for charity. And its opening hours are from 4 to 11, and Thursday is 12 to 11, and Friday is 12 to midnight. Okay. Now I'm conscious of the fact that I've got to cross the road and try and keep filming, so bear with me. I'm going to cross in the proper place, no jaywalking. I've got to check the traffic from 3 directions, and hopefully this is a roundabout. Now the roundabout is only painted on the road, and people either obey or don't obey it, and because it's painted, what tends to happen is that people just drive over it, and you can see some people actually obeying the road signals, some not, as I finish crossing the road. And you can see if we go down that way, we'll be going towards Salisbury. A couple of things I want to show you before the end of this section of the tour of Devizes as I'm walking along the road. And I've got about 200 metres to walk down here. Again, you'll see double yellow lines on both sides here. There is absolutely no parking on this road at all, and for a very good reason. Theoretically, the speed of the traffic in town is 30 miles an hour, but as you can see as we're walking along now, there are speeds in excess of that, but I'm not going to focus on any number plates. And you can see in the distance that we're heading up towards the fire station. There's a fire engine on its way out of the depot. And this is Pan's Lane. I'll tell you the origin of Pan's Lane when I find out. For the moment, let's just go across. I'm halfway, and now I'm full way. Right, those are the only roads I've got to cross today, so that's the exciting bit over as we walk down the road. And again, traffic and private housing on both sides of the road, and also that's the Scouts Hall, which was built in 1919. So that building next year, and it's got the first Devizes Scout group. That building next year will celebrate its centenary. Right. Okay. And houses for sale. We're getting close to a school, as you'll see in a moment. Walking along. And now we're coming to the fire station and Devizes Community Fire Station. I'll stop for a minute. Basically, we're very lucky to have the fire station. Some of the resources have been pooled, but Devizes does have its own fire station, and we're going to take a walk round, slowly around the outside. As I'm on foot, I can ignore the no entry sign, and there are no dogs allowed either, so I'm just walking through the rear of the fire station, and again no entry into the car park, but I can take you up here. In fact, I've not been up here myself before, because this is a bit of a dead end, or is it? We shall find out. Okay, as we walk around this semicircle, and over on the right is Wiltshire College. So there you have Wiltshire College, single rise building, again just on the outskirts of the town centre, and set in wooded grounds, and part of this area is for sale. Okay, and then we have warnings about parking here, and parking on double yellow lines is most definitely prohibited. Okay, right. Okay, beyond there is the school, and you can see that the whole area is fenced, and Devizes School private property. And people come from, or students, pupils come from the outlying villages to Devizes School. It's one of the largest schools in the area, with 1,100 pupils, I think. I'm going to check that afterwards. But signs everywhere saying this is private property. And as we come towards the end of this second tour of Devizes, where it has stayed fine, thankfully, I'm grateful for that. My third outing, which will probably be either over Christmas or in the New Year, will be equipped with a microphone and gimbal. So if you stayed with me today, I thank you and apologise for the shakiness of the picture. This is real video, but next time when we go out, the shakiness will be gone, and the microphone will not be the internal microphone, it will be an external microphone. This is Devizes Sports Centre, open to all, with monthly and annual memberships. It has a swimming pool, and if we go up to the window, we might be able to see a little bit of what's inside, and it's ready for Christmas. Christmas tree is up, and we can see down towards the swimming pool and the notice board. Now, I'm very wary of filming on public property for obvious reasons, but I can take you around the grounds. And this is the entrance to the sports centre, and then beyond that, well, we have a vast expanse which is shared, I think, with the school, of tennis courts, and sports facilities. and you can see the floodlights, so that sport can be played after it goes dark. And again, the population of Devizes is only 23,000, and to think that these facilities are available and people can play football on a football pitch, though you have to be, I think, a member of the sports centre. So there you have it. That turf is AstroTurf, which means it's an all-year-round facility, and you can see around it the country and the car park here. A 3-hour maximum stay. So if you're going to the gym, make sure that you're not working out for more than 3 hours. Okay, and a bit of sponsorship there by Adidas. Right, so I'm just going to walk around and then we'll finish off at the green. Okay, so again, next to the sports centre is housing. I'll go back on the same path I came in. And round and left. Okay, and if I walk down here along the front of the sports centre, people having driving lessons, and as you can see throughout the whole of Devizes there is CCTV in operation 24/7 with a control room, and one of my friends is involved in that control room. It's what keeps the town centre safe, and CCTV is a fact of life in the UK, especially in city centres. Okay, nearly there. Hopefully, just need to get beyond that wall, and I can do the closing shot for today. Again, as you can see, the school is actually set in grounds in the countryside. That's the school, or part of the school over there. And the junior school on the left-hand side. And what I love about Devizes, we'll come to in a moment. One of the things I love about Devizes is the architecture, and somebody's just having an extension to their house. But if you look, I'm going to go right here and go onto the grass. Okay, is that if we pan from one end of the terrace to another, you can see the houses from different eras, and they're all in use, and we can get an idea, if I go this way too, an idea of the layout of the town. And this is the sort of busiest spot in Devizes, that roundabout, during rush hour. You've got buses coming from all directions, and you've got the roads out to Swindon and Chippenham, and behind us to Salisbury. And this is the green. Now, the Devizes
Hello. Sorry about that. The film stopped unexpectedly. unexpectedly, and Geka did warn me. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today in this second tour of Devizes. As I say, on the third tour, I'll be equipped with a gimbal and a microphone as well, so all will be good. To answer your questions, Cheryl, yes, it was recess at the school, and the children were outside in the schoolyard playing. It was cool, but it wasn't raining today, which is good. And I was walking too fast at some points. I know my marathon is not till next year, but it's good to actually get the pace adjusted now. And thank you, Gospel, and thank you, Cheryl. And I much prefer to walk than work out. It's a lot easier. And Gospel, I love the setup too. It's all good. And the thing is that you can go out and about. I went out this morning at 11 o'clock and I shot that continuously by walking just through the town, just talking about anything that came into my head, really. And you can do the same. And in 2019, I look forward to just a minute, I'm just catching up with the comments. I look forward to your videos as well. I'm looking forward especially to a video by Gospel next week, where Gospel and Sarah are walking around the Christmas market in Rochester. So that's going to be good. And you're most welcome, Cheryl. And we have Kelly with us as well. And yep, if you've only seen half of it, the replay is there. And Cheryl's saying hello to Kelly, and Catherine's well, you're most welcome, Catherine. It's a pleasure to actually do these. As Fonz says, we're actually recording history because it's available now forever. And it's just good to actually get out and about in the fresh air and walk and enjoy the countryside, which surrounds Devizes. I'm gradually making my way around the whole perimeter of Devizes. I've got a long way to go yet. I hope you do join me in 2019. Next week is Gospel and the Christmas market in Rochester. Next week is the Fonz. We'll be back too. So it promises to be a great show next week. So to everybody who's watched and right, how do you do that without being live? Okay, the technology behind this is that with my trusty mobile phone, I go out and I broadcast direct to Twitch. The Wi-Fi here is good, or so the 4G is good, so I can go out and I can just record it to Twitch for free, and then I download the video from Twitch onto my hard drive, and then I right-click and play the video to Chrome, and then share my browser. I'll talk more about that in future shows so that we all understand what's going on. And Charlie's wishing everybody a beautiful week. I'm doing the same. I'm live on Twitch in 15 minutes with Mr. David Burrows from Sarnia in Canada, in Ontario. And it's been my pleasure today to say that I do live here, and it's been a pleasure to actually share Devizes Wiltshire with you all today. And I'll see you at the same time next week. Bye for now. Bye. That's a wrap, I think. That was good. Thank you, everybody.